Hello and welcome to Sportstar's full-time show podcast, where we are discussing the ongoing FIFA World Cup. We are at the fag end of the World Cup. 62 matches are done. We have two finalists, and this is me, Aashin Prasad, and with me is Ayon Sengupta, our editor, who is from in Qatar right now, and Aneesh and Pranay Rajiv from Chennai. Ayon, first of all, how are you doing? 2 days, no matches, but then you've been going around the city, I'm assuming, and you also had a busy day today with Infantino's presser and also visiting the training of the finalists, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I think yesterday I went for the Argentina training and today I was there for the France training as well. And in between, obviously, we had Infantino's presser. Though this was not as bombastic as the first one that he had at the start of the World Cup. But
Yeah, how was
again,
he? How was he feeling today? Which country was he feeling? Argentinian, French?
no, I think today he wanted to present himself as a global citizen where he wanted to tell all of us that he takes care of the entire global problem and not just the Arab problem or what he tried to say the first time.
Yeah, he's really angling for that Nobel Peace Prize, I'm guessing. And yeah, so the thing.
You never know if Obama can get the Nobel Peace Prize just because he got elected as the U.S. president, then Infantino can get it as well.
Yeah, he'll definitely be pushing for that. And but like on the football side of things, some big announcements were made today. Uh, Two of the things which were noticeable were the 32 team club FIFA Club World Cup for the men's in 2025, and the women's Club World Cup first edition is gonna be rolling out.
Yeah.
And the subject is that, like, there's a lot of football already going on, but a 32 two team FIFA World Cup, and then which will be followed by the 48 team FIFA World Cup in the North America.
Yeah.
Is there a case of, like, there is no limit to, like, exploiting the players in this current age?
I think there are two sides to the story. I mean, while obviously if you look at Europe, I mean, where the main opposition for the 24 team Club World Cup, which was first proposed to be held in China in 2021, but then got postponed because of COVID, is that the European players, the teams as well as the players who are playing in the European League play a lot of matches. But then if you look at players and clubs which are competing in Asia or Africa or even North America, leave aside South America, where again they have a very long club season as well as their continental championship. In these three continents, whether it's the Oceania, Asia, and Africa, as well as North America, clubs and players in those clubs don't really play that many games. So in that context, to give clubs of those continents an opportunity to play with the best in the globe might be a good idea. But obviously, there would be a lot of opposition from the European clubs, which again brings most of the money to football's table.
But like going forward, this could be a case of FIFA against UEFA, where the clubs could probably opt out of, the big teams could also opt out of either of these competitions too, right?
I think they are trying to slot this once every 4 years, and it would probably take the slot which, anyways, till 2017 the Intercontinental Cup had. Given the fact that if it's a 32-team tournament, we are not very sure about how the groups would be broken and whether it would be a direct quarterfinal or a pre-quarterfinal. That's still not been decided by FIFA. So obviously the number of games will go up. But I mean, if they're positioning it at 25, 29 and all that, it doesn't really clash either with the World Cup or with the Euro. So it actually might have a chance to work.
Okay.
But I think more interesting than the Club World Cup is the concept of the FIFA World Series, which has been proposed in terms of we saw the Argentina beating Italy in the one-off match that they had in Wembley. Now I think they are planning to have a longer window sometime in March to have more intercontinental matches, which might be actually a more interesting concept than the Club World Cup. Okay. And I think another interesting aspect is for the Olympics to make the women's tournament also a 16-team affair compared to what we have now, which is 12 teams.
Yeah, that's some progress on the women's side of the game.
Yeah, and also having the under-17 tournament, making it an annual affair.
Does it make sense though? Like, Once,
I think right now it's biennial. It's also about giving young players the chance to play against the quality opposition of their age group a lot more. And I think that's a good move. I think that especially the success of the Under-17 Women's World Cup, which we saw in India,
yeah,
where a huge number of people came out to support the team. And I think Under-17 is also a level where FIFA can take the tournament, and they've actually taken the tournament to multiple nations. So having that tournament annually might be a good thing to do.
all right, okay. Yeah. So now looking ahead to the final, how is the mood with relation to France and Argentina? Like, are more fans coming into the city now that they are in the final?
I think Argentina already had about close to about 35,000 fans who had traveled from South America and other parts of the world. Argentines who had traveled from other parts of the world for this tournament. So I don't think Argentina will have the same amount of people supporting the team. From day one, both Argentines who have traveled as well as the local population here have been behind the team. There won't be much change in that. France, as we know that Macron, despite all the criticism he received for coming for the Morocco game, he's again coming back on Sunday to watch the final. Maybe we'll see a few more French supporters coming in. If they don't turn up, then it's actually going to be a Argentine show. I don't really see the stadium Lusail 89,000 to have too many French supporters there.
And from India, I heard Mr. Sunil Gavaskar is also there. Who is he supporting?
I think I met Mr. Gavaskar today. He's always been a supporter of Brazil. I think even in the column that he wrote for Sportstar in the last issue, he said that his team is out. So I think what he told us is that he wants, like 2011, the Indian team won the World Cup for Tendulkar. He hopes that the Argentine team can do the same for Messi.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative has always been the case since the start of the tournament for Messi and Argentina. I'll move to Aneesh now. Aneesh, you previously watched the 2018 round of 16 game between these two. It's a rematch of that, like 4 years on. But like, how different is this game? Like, compared to that, I saw that, like, Argentina had only two starters predominantly because Di Maria has not been starting so much. So if you take him into account, three premier starters compared to France, who had like five starters who are still in this squad right now. So how different is it? Like, how different are Argentina compared to the 2018 where they lost 4-3?
So, as you started by saying, the main difference is, of course, squad quality and the coherent way Argentina is playing right now. Last World Cup, they even had a lot of off-field issues where the team was not happy with Sampaoli's management, and they went into the knockouts with a tense dressing room. So it showed on the pitch, and definitely Argentina has better players this World Cup. But the most important thing is that Messi, obviously he's a golden ball contender, and also golden boot contender with, because he's been important. But it's just not a Messi show. We have seen uh, players like Enzo Fernandez, Julian Alvarez, and the whole team basically centered their football around Messi. But it's not just a Messi show anymore. And I think this will be one of the crucial factors, because if you remember that game, I think one goal of Argentina was a blinder by Di Maria. I mean, that is that on any other day that wouldn't have gone in, and the other one was a deflection. Only Aguero's header at the end was some sort of positive play. But I think it's still advantage France in terms of squad quality.
Okay.
But
Because
Argentina
the,
doesn't.
do you think because of the depth in squad, like,
Yeah,
even in the last game, they didn't have two key players, and
yeah,
to able to bring on someone like Colomwani to come and get the goal.
exactly. They have been having before the tournament. They had so many injuries. They losing their two midfielders who were so crucial in their 2018 winning campaign. Then losing Benzema, and even in the tournament we have even Upamecano fell ill. Konate came and seamlessly fit in and put in such a good performance. So this is what makes France such a threatening side. And if you remember, we all saw the Morocco France match together. France was threatened, but still they managed to keep a clean sheet and win the match. So I think that's what makes them such a dangerous approach.
Mm. And Pranay, so we have seen that, like, with Mbappe, teams trying to like neutralize him by having a man mark defender on him. do you see something similar in this game for either Messi or Mbappe, because they are coming into this as the marquee players for both the sides, right?
With the case of Messi, I don't think. I think every team in the world has tried to man mark Messi and failed to do it. And but with Mbappe, it's a little bit easier because he has a defined role. He plays on the left wing, so you can put your right back on him, like what.
But is there a pacey defender in the Argentine?
I don't think Molina plays right back, so I don't think he has the pace to hold on to. So that would mean they might have to use one of the right-sided midfielder to drop a little deep, which again could change their plans. So in the case of Messi, I don't think it's worthwhile to man mark him because he'll eventually find a way around.
Very much.
Mbappe is a possible option, but Molina needs to be at his best. I mean, even Kyle Walker struggled against him, so
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a hard battle for Molina.
True. Ion, it's really incredible, like looking at Lionel Messi at 35, and even with the narrative that it's going to be a Messi versus Mbappe battle. Like, I mean, like we have moved on. See, it seems like we have moved on from the Messi Ronaldo debate. Now we are pitting a 35-year-old against a 23-year-old. Like, but in your opinion, like, who do you see as the best right now?
I think again, while Mbappe has scored 5 goals, if you look at the particular the France team, Griezmann has been the player. He's the one who playing as the number 8 has made the most difference. When the team is defending, he falls back and gets that line of 4-man midfield who helps the defense. And when you see Giroud and Mbappe going forward, he also goes up and then supports the 2 strikers. So he has been the best player as far as France is concerned. But if you look at Argentina, I mean, Alvarez has got a few goals, but it has been Messi. He is the one who has actually made the difference when it has really mattered for the team. So I think the comparison is not right. I mean, Messi, despite both of them having the same number of goals, has had a bigger impact than Mbappe has.
Okay, but like, so even if Argentina loses, I mean, I'm guessing most people, Argentina fans and even Messi wouldn't care so much, but do you think he is the prime contender for the Golden Ball?
I think if you look at, I mean, for example, in the last match, I mean, Messi obviously had that brilliant assist for the 3rd goal, but Alvarez was equally important. I mean, if you look at it, is notionally Argentina is starting with a 4-4-2, but Messi is the one who always, or even when they against the Dutch, they played with a 5-man defense. Alvarez is supposed to be the number 9, but he actually gives Messi the space to stay there in the front and not press back. But he always comes down and harasses the opposition midfielders to win the ball early. So he had a brilliant game. He scored a lovely goal as well. The run that he had for the 2nd goal, but Messi was the man of the match. So it always seems that Messi, as soon as he takes the field, he has that 5 extra points already rewarded to him. So if Argentina wins, I don't think there's any doubt that the commentators and the jury would actually pick him as the player of the tournament.
And like we have been talking about, like, how Messi is sometimes ambling around, like where he doesn't like exert so much of energy on the field other than when he has the ball. I think you guys might have seen the video on social media for that assist which he made. There was a close side pitch view where Messi is just like asking his fellow Argentinian player to, like, you move here, and then pass the ball to me. And the player who's like young and energetic, he makes the run, gets the ball, and passes to Messi, and Messi just does the rest. It's just like incredible, like, the kind of influence he can still have on the game. But yeah, so you touched upon the formation of Argentina 4-4-2, but now with Di Maria, they are saying that, like, that he's now 100% fit, right? So do you see a change in formation bringing in Di Maria into this?
I'm not sure. I think Scaloni, I mean, though he has kept changing his formation depending on the opposition that he's playing with, I think in the final, I expect him to go with the same thing. Obviously, Acuna, even though Tagliafico had a very good game, I think Acuna would come in at that place. But I think he will keep Di Maria probably to unleash sometime in the second half if things are not doing too well. Because though he had tried Dybala in the other game, I don't see him coming off the bench in the final. So he would want to have some sort of a player in the bench who can come and have make an instant impact. So I think for that reason, Di Maria probably would again start from on the bench.
Okay. And
I think the good thing about this Argentina, I mean, when we talk about the influence that Messi is having, I think in the 2018 squad, I mean, he never really looked happy throughout the tournament. Argentina had players, quite a few players like the Romero, the goalkeeper, a lot of senior players in the team. Aguero was there, Higuain was there. But here the team is he is the star of the team, and he's also playing with a huge bunch of players. Again, going back to the 2011 World Cup example, all of them have actually grown up idolizing Messi. So I think it's easier for these guys to accept him as the leader and then run for him, tackle for him, go that extra bit for him. And also we have to realize that the support staff that Scaloni has created. I mean, Scaloni was there. Walter Samuel was there. Pablo Aimar, the entire support staff of Argentina, even Ayala. All of them were there when Messi made his debut for Argentina. So he also has that sort of support system in the staff who he has played with.
So everyone is coming together for Messi, the former players, the current players.
Yeah, so it almost seems that he's in the national team setup, he's most comfortable that he has ever been because of the younger players who look up to him and also having the support staff with whom he has played earlier.
Mm-hmm. I think like one of the touching videos which we saw during this World Cup was Pablo Aimar breaking down in tears after Messi scored that goal against Mexico, I guess, which is beautiful to watch.
No, but I think in the last game, though I'm not sure if the television camera panned on it, even Scaloni was crying. I mean, the first as Scaloni in his press conference always tries to downplay the emotional side of sport. He keeps saying that this is just a game. Mm-hmm. He actually admonished Aimar for crying in that game in a press conference, but he was emotional that day. He actually hugged Messi and cried. So you could see what it means for the entire team to be here.
To be honest, like in whatever major tournaments I've watched in football, I've never seen a team so emotionally charged, which has been like taking them through than like what we are seeing with Argentina right now, with everyone involved. Like, have you felt something similarly?
Yeah, I think even in the last time we spoke about Argentina, we talked about the emotional energy that team is expanding. I mean, all of us keep thinking whether they're expanding too much and whether they'll have anything left.
Like how Croatia, will they get tired by just like playing 120 minutes? Similarly with Argentina, too much.
So we keep thinking that, we keep questioning that at every game, and they keep proving us wrong. So I think the entire Argentina supporters, I mean, whether it's the Indians or Bangladeshis or Argentines, they'll hope that the team has enough gas left in it. And they had a 2-day break, and I think their first training session was yesterday. And the team looked in good spirits. Aguero has actually now joined the camp. I mean, he's there in most of the training sessions. So I think the atmosphere inside the camp looked very, very happy and positive.
Yeah, and we have to like touch upon the French side as well. I'll come back to you on the illness side of things in the French camp. Pranay, like what France have achieved is remarkable, right? Like no one really like gave them a chance, considering a number of players who missed out in the lead up to the World Cup. And I don't know. I don't know if this French team is as good as the previous French team when it comes to the football, because if you look at the numbers in terms of how they play, it's very similar. But like I don't know, the other team had more extra stardust, say in like Pogba, but this team doesn't have Pogba. But other than that, like I don't know, like I'm finding it very difficult to separate the two sides. What about you?
I feel the 2018 French side was a little more defensively stable. Like they were, what happened against Morocco, any other day they would have considered at least a goal. That they just escaped because a lot of Moroccan forwards were not able to convert the chances. They were, I think, a little too late to shoot at times. But I don't think in 2018, except for the France game except for the Argentina game where they conceded 3, they never looked like conceding way too many goals like this. I think that was down to Umtiti and Varane having probably the tournament of their lives. Varane is still going at it. Umtiti has faded away. So defensive stability is the main difference which I feel. But the way they have covered up for missing out on Pogba and Kante, with Chumani and Rabiot. Rabiot didn't play
And
in the
Griezmann.
semi-final.
Hmm.
Griezmann, so Griezmann has transformed himself into that Pogba role. Like nobody expected that to happen, and then so that's there. In terms of attacking, I think they're still pretty much maybe a little bit better than 2018 because
Maybe because like Mbappe is now moved to the left as well, like so it's a
yes,
much like.
and plus they have a Dembele, who I
Hmm.
think a lot of people are underestimating him because of the talk with all the talk about Mbappe and
Yeah.
Griezmann. Dembele has been very creative on the right hand side, but he has not been getting the dividends. I think maybe the numbers will come through in the final. So Dembele, the addition of Dembele. Last time they used to
Hmm.
play with Matuidi as a
Yeah.
half attacker, half midfielder. So compared to that, Dembele is a huge upgrade in terms of attacking. So I think the main difference comes in defense. That's one thing I can point out.
All right. And I don't like.
And sorry, one more thing is Loris looks much more composed. Like compared to what like his usual self, he has been a lot more composed. He
But
saved, I think, at least two near goals in the Morocco game. So that's
he's a
another
squash
thing.
player, so there's always like something.
There's always a
Something
chance.
will give. I feel. Because last in the last final he made an error, so yeah, maybe who knows. And I don't. Lot of this World Cup has been lot of talk regarding illness for players. Like players, some players have complained about it being too cold for them to play in the air-conditioned stadiums. Uh,
Yeah,
but I think Rabiot and Upamecano had stomach bug, is what they later clarified, the French. And today, Varane
yeah,
and Humani have fallen ill as well.
yeah.
So, what is the mood in the French camp? Are they like concerned? Are Rabiot and Upamecano might come back? And even if that's the case, then will Upamecano slot in place of Konate, who had an excellent game in the against Morocco?
Yeah, I think the French camp are optimistic that they'll be back for the final. I think today press conference Dembele was there. He spoke to the media and he sounded optimistic. But obviously, we will have a better idea about it when Deschamps has his presser tomorrow morning. But if he Upamecano is supposed to come back, I think Kanote would go back to the bench.
Okay.
He had a very good game against Morocco, but I don't see him playing the final.
I see. Okay, and one of the reasons which I think I wanted you and Anish also on the pod is because like your affinity to Argentina, you both grew up following Argentina in your early days. So I think Lionel Scaloni mentioned in the press conference as well, like he wanted to thank the support which has been coming through from Bangladesh and India from the subcontinent. So I want to get an idea of like what this means. I don't know. I mean, like India has not played in the World Cup, but there is still a large fandom when it comes to World Cup for say Argentina or Brazil. So can you give me an idea of like what this would mean if Argentina wins in the context of a someone who comes from West Bengal? Like how will it be?
I think if you the three biggest pockets of following of football in India is in Goa, which is predominantly Brazilian in nature, in Kerala and Bengal. It's probably divided 50-50 or 40-60 Argentina, Brazil. I think a whole host of people started following football in the 80s and 90s because of Maradona and what he meant for people around the globe. And the passion for the game has continued from there. This World Cup has been very unique because given the close proximity to India and also the huge population of Indians who live in Doha, I think I think the Qataris in Doha is about 3 lakh, and the Indian population in Doha is about 7 lakhs. And after Saudi Arabia, which is the neighboring country, the highest number of higher applications for this World Cup has actually come from India. So I don't think ever in a World Cup these many Indians would have ever watched a World Cup at a stadium. So I'm not very sure whether the transition from Maradona to Messi happened naturally or it's been that because you've seen in your younger days, your parents, your friends, or your elder brothers supporting Argentina or Brazil, and you somehow got hooked into it. I'm not very sure whether people have been converted into Argentine fans because of Messi. A lot of people might have got converted as to Barcelona fans because of Messi, uh, and a lot of people might be just supporting this team like a lot of people used to support India because of Tendulkar. It might just be because Messi is there. A lot of Indians and Bangladeshis, the support for Argentina might come from just from the fact that it is Messi who's there in that side.
Okay.
For me,
And
yeah, yeah. So I think one advantage our generation has compared to the our dad's generation, the 80s, is that football has become very accessible right now. You want to see any match, you can go to YouTube. You want any stats, everything is basically available at our fingertips. But I think the passion remains the same. Like, so I think I don't know whether you've seen it or not. Recently, a picture got viral from a tea stall in Kolkata where there was a lady who is an Argentina fan, and on the day Argentina qualified for the final, she the next day she gave free tea to all her customers. There was a board written in Bengali saying tea is free.
hmm.
So I think
And I
in
think
these
the other day you and Santa were telling me the story about this couple who used to
yeah,
come for many
yeah,
World Cups for
yeah,
to follow Argentina, right?
yeah. The man, the husband recently passed away, so I don't know whether uh, that's happening this time, but they went for the 2018 World Cup as far as I can recall. But yeah, so in these little ways, the passion will remain, and I do agree with Ayon sir in a ways where he says a lot of Argentina that fans are because Messi is in the team. I mean, personally, I started supporting Argentina because I just fell in love with how Messi was playing. But for me, I will continue to, as a fan, I will continue to support even after Messi retires. But obviously, the main influx of Argentina fans came during the 80s when in 86 World Cup when it was televised for the first time from Maradona.
Okay, then we move on to the predictions. I know it's going to be difficult to keep the heart away from this predictions. Ayan, so who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
I still think France has enough quality, and the way Griezmann has been playing. And see, I mean, if you look at the game against Croatia, Croatia was keeping an high line, and you could see De Paul as well as Paredes. All of them were trying to play those because of the high press they were playing those long ball over the defense and asking Acuna and Tagliafico or Alvarez to run. France is not going to play with a high line. They would have actually a low block. So with a low block, I mean, the wingers, Argentine wingers, also have to deal with Dembele on one side and Mbappe on one side. They won't be able to go for those runs that they did against Croatia. So Argentina has to play through the middle. Argentina has to depend a lot more on Messi to actually have that moment of magic and create that goal for them. So
And
just
so
because of
the
that,
first goal becomes key for Argentina then.
yeah.
To,
So
give
absolutely,
France to
yeah.
play
Uh,
differently. Yeah.
Yeah, and France again against Morocco, we saw that after they got that early goal in the 5th minute, they actually sat very deep. You could say that they brought trouble upon themselves by sitting so deep and letting Hakimi and Ziyech dictate play. I don't think they'll do the same mistake if they concede early, but I don't see them conceding early. And I think I see France winning back-to-back World Cup. I mean, my result would be 2-1 for France.
Anish?
Yeah, so I was also logic definitely says France is a very far back squad and they have world class players in every position. And I personally think Upamecano, Varane, all of them will be back for the final. So if you just ask me about predictions, I also think it will be a 2-1 win for France.
Okay. Pranay, so I want to start with we had this conversation about how when it comes to statistics and numbers, sometimes teams tend to overperform the numbers. Do you think the game which France plays, it's a very high risk game? I don't know. I feel like not having the ball is a high risk game than like having the ball. So do you think the final that could change in against their favor now?
Final changes in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, what France the game which they have been playing, it might finally catch up.
Deschamps have, I think, like mastered the art of winning games without playing the 100%. I mean, like doing extracting the maximum attacking output you have. But I think the strategy will fail against Argentina solely because of Messi. So I see Argentina win 1-0. It will be a very high, very tense game. So I think
Okay.
1-0.
I can't believe that, like, we are the ones who are going to back Argentina here today.
I just want to see the European domination fade. I am sick of European teams winning the World Cup.
It's a fellow South American
Yeah.
you coming through here. But yeah, you're supporting our arch rival, which I'm surprised about. But yeah, I'm personally.
But the Brazilian journalists that you speak, if you speak to the Brazilian journalist here, they said that anybody can win but Lionel.
And before I let you guys go, who your picks for your Golden Boot and Golden Ball winners? Ayon, I'll start with you.
I think, as I said, that France is going to win, and if France is to go win 2-1, then Mbappe is going to score. So the top scorer, I think, would be Mbappe. And just because France is going to win the tournament, they have to give something to Messi, so the best player will go to him.
Not again. Okay. 2 consolatory Golden Ball wins for Messi. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Aneesh, you?
Ideally, I want Messi to win the Golden Boot, Golden Ball, and the World Cup. But I think the Golden Boot will go to Mbappe, and the Golden Ball will go to Messi.
Okay. Pranay?
I see both going to Messi. He'll be the first person since Paulo Rossi in 1980 to win both Golden Boot and Golden Ball.
Okay.
So that will be some way to sign off from a
And the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, because I predicted that. So yeah, that would be the absolutely perfect way. I think that would completely finish the goal.
But do you think do you guys think that if Messi wins the World Cup, he will be bigger than Maradona as far as Argentine football is concerned?
That would be subjective to whom you ask. That
I think it's the generation you ask, basically.
I would ask
what about your generation?
What do you think?
What about your generation? Do you think that he would be bigger than Maradona?
We haven't seen, so obviously we're gonna say Messi. We haven't watched Maradona play, so I think I would say that, like, what Messi's achievement at 35 to drag this team through whatever to win the World Cup and probably win the Golden Ball and Golden Boot as well, right? Like the influence which he's had. So
Yeah.
I personally would feel Messi would be greater.
For me, it's easy because I've seen Messi play day in, day out at the club level also. And even apart from that, I think the way Argentina came into this tournament and after the opening day loss to Saudi Arabia, it must have been shattering for the team. For me, if Messi does win the World Cup, definitely, personally speaking, he will have a bigger impact than he'll be a bigger legend for me than Maradona for Argentine football.
Pranay?
Yeah.
If you consider their careers as a whole, then I think Messi is larger than Maradona. But if you ask me whose World Cup was better, I think I will tilt towards Maradona. It is.
How would you say that? Like, we haven't like seen it.
I mean, we haven't seen it from what I've read, from what I've understood. I feel it's bigger because taking both these players away from the team, the 86 Argentina.
Maradona handballed against England, so I'm gonna like have bias against.
I think this Argentine team, I mean, like if you compare both teams without their star players, I think this team is a better team than 86. Again, it's a very, I don't have, like, because I haven't seen it, so I'm not completely sure about it, but that's what I understood. So I think this setup which is around Messi is a far better one than what Maradona had, probably. So I would favor Maradona for a single World Cup, I'll say maybe. Unless, of course, Messi goes and scores a hat trick in the final.
Ayon, you are better placed to answer this, I guess.
No, even the 86. I think my first memories of watching a World Cup is 1986. I was still too young to figure out what was happening. I think I would have been about 2 years old at that time.
Okay.
But I think in the context of the country, both this World Cup are very, very similar. 86, what about 6-7 years after the fall of the military rule, the dictatorship that Argentina had, and there was a lot of hardships. And even the Argentine economy as it is, it was struggling at that point of time, and the COVID probably made it worse. So even back then and even now, I think the country, the people there really need this win to actually cheer them up. In that context, I think both 86 and 2020 22 is are going to be historical for both teams, both for the country as well as both teams if Argentina ends up winning it. As far as Messi is concerned, I think if you look at club level and personal level, Messi's numbers are better than Maradona's. But for them to win that title single-handedly, as Pranay said, I think this Argentine team is a bit better on paper compared to the 86 team. So just for that, I would keep the 86 win and Maradona a little ahead of Messi, despite the numbers that he had over the years.
Okay.
And and I think Maradona is also he was a flawed individual, like most of us are. I mean, there was a good side of him, there's a bad side of him, and Messi. Apart from this World Cup, where we have seen him to be a little more feisty and bring that nastiness which you probably need to win, we have never really seen him feeling so passionately about something and doing whatever is needed to actually get that win. I mean, against Netherlands in the quarterfinal, we actually saw him get agitated and fouling people. You could see him elbowing someone and wasting time. So he was finally showing that he was also human and trying his best to win a game for his team. So that has finally come to his game, which a lot of people here, a lot of Argentine here say that Messi had to draw into that Maradona spirit to come this far. And no matter what happens, he'll be forever compared to Diego, and I think he'll just fall a little short.
Okay, maybe he might like handball a goal in the final. But I think like one thing which I want to touch upon before I don't want to drag this too long, but with Messi, I've always felt that like the Argentina, the country never really loved him in his early ages because he was never in Argentina, and because of the adoration they had towards Maradona, like it was never the same, and they never thought like he's someone who could be the true heir to Maradona. I feel, and only in the last few years, I feel like in the last 8 years or so, I feel like that there's been a change in how they feel about Messi.
I think it's also because there have been so many heirs to Maradona. There was Riquelme, there was Aymar, there was Ortega. So for an Argentine public who have seen so many of them being touted as the next Maradona and not living up to the potential, so obviously I think they were a little wary, and it took time for them to accept that somebody could do this for Argentina again. And as I said, I mean, Maradona came from the slums of Buenos Aires. He played in Newell Boys Club. Messi moved to Barcelona very, very early, so he never really had that connect with the people or the club structure or the football structure in the country. So I mean, that's probably one of the. Yeah. And if you have seen in the 2006, 2010 World Cup, or even in 2014 when Argentina went to the final, he always seemed a little reluctant. I mean, he didn't really look at someone who was very, very comfortable with in the national setup. So that probably would have also led to people think that he was not interested or he was not giving his best for the national side.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we have reached the end of our preview podcast. It was a really fascinating discussion with all three of you. Yeah. So we can't wait to sign off this World Cup with two more cracking games. And do keep listening to us. We'll be and keep following our work on sportstar.thehindu.com. And if you like our podcast, recommend to your friends and family, and share it on social media as well, and tag us at Sportstar Web.